This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenrail radio playlist. zenrailclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pointy Bakery. If you're located in the Pointy area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pointy Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode.
Okay.
All right, cool. Actually, I was thinking about this right before we started, like when I came back, and then we're like, all right, let's just start. And we were talking about the tennis shot right before we started. And I was thinking about how the access to information now is so crazy that I can actually debate the necessity of getting a tetanus shot. You know what I mean? Like you just Google, like, are tetanus shots really necessary every 10 years? And then like a study will come up, and then it made me think, like, wait, we are in the crazy time where we have the most insane access to information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even before, like during COVID, like the example for the tetanus shot was like how we were searching up numbers for COVID, and it's like we wouldn't have had that before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of weird? Like, but then you have to ask yourself, like, what is a real piece of information? You know, like when they put out things, is it actually valid? Is it vetted?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's knowing how to read things properly. It's
yeah, that's true.
Critical
Yeah.
thinking in that aspect.
But that was the thing too with the article that I was saying to you. Like 30 people every year get tetanus, and they find that the people that get tetanus are the ones that never had the childhood vaccine. Right? But it's like 30 out of how many millions?
Right.
So if you just like divide that number, it's actually quite small. You know, but they like kind of neglect that piece, and they just jump into, like, they just say like 30, and you're like, oh, 30, but they never say like.
But it depends on
0.0, you know?
Yeah, but like I understand that in that sense, but it's like, are they from the countries? Like, this is me critical thinking. It's like, are they the 30 people from the countries that they give shots to, or is it 30 of the whole world population? Like,
I think it's within the countries that have administered tetanus, but don't.
These people haven't had it.
These people don't have. Yeah, because remember I said, like, childhood tetanus came, like, the vaccine came about like 1980 or something like that. So anyone before then didn't have the childhood boosters that we went through. And like the study now is like, are childhood boosters enough, or do you need every 10 years to get a tetanus shot? You know? But anyways, all right, so like I wanted to bring that in because with the development of AI now, I feel like we're hitting this point where information is just so uncertain. You know what I mean? Like, did you see the brick eating contest?
Yeah,
that AI created?
Yeah.
All right, so it's getting pretty realistic now. You know, even like the pictures of Trump, the Pope wearing the bomber jacket.
Yeah.
Right? And then it's like, it's so, like, it's still, you can tell that it's like, oh, this is a little fake, but what if we get to the point where it's indistinguishable from like a photo? You know, what does that mean for truth? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, how will we possibly, I don't know, manage the system? Like, what are your thoughts? Do you think we're like done? It's over?
No, I mean, even we'll have to find new tools or new ways to figure that kind of stuff out. It's just like before, it would be hard to know what is truth, right? Like, there would be no pictures. It's just a story.
Facts, facts, facts. That's true. You'd have to trust the word of mouth of someone else.
Mhm.
But you know what's trippy too? It's like how we are so quick to believe in headlines without reading the actual article.
Mhm.
That like, what if these AI things become the new version of headlines? It's like, no, I totally saw a photo of it,
Yeah, yeah.
and I heard them say it. You know that thing with the AI voice modulator where like they're making Eminem
Mhm.
sing songs that he's never sang before.
Yeah.
Like you can run filters for like Drake singing songs that he's never sang before.
Mhm.
So like with that, if you add like photo and audio, where are we then? It's like, hey man, check out this video.
Yeah.
Right, kind of trippy, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course.
Yeah. So what are we gonna do? How are we possibly gonna police this? Yeah. Or do you think we're just like it's over?
No, I think that it depends. I think to the access to the information, if it's truth or not, may become more um, problematic
Mm.
in that sense. But like, but that's always been an issue, anyways. It's just going to probably add more to it, right?
But then is it almost like we we can't trust anything we see online? And then if that's true, it's like, how do we? So maybe we'll go back to the days of you need investigative reporters.
Yeah.
So our news will actually slow down. Actually, maybe this is the
I
beginning
don't know.
of
News is
real
not.
truth. Yeah.
I get what you're saying, but I don't think the news will slow down. The news is just following whatever the public is talking about. That's generally what's
Oh,
happening.
really?
Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting.
Because if
Okay, I
like
didn't know that.
yeah, it's just generally like it's like things are happening on Twitter. Why are we? Then it's like they talk about it on the news, right? Like that's like
Yeah, yeah.
whatever's getting the attention. Because news media is just they want people to click in, right? Investigative
Yes, yes.
journalism is not in today's broadcast television. They don't really have that. They
Okay.
have that only
So then,
in newspaper articles, and they're the ones who are doing that. But who's reading those, right?
yeah, facts, facts, facts. And I was listening to this Coffeezilla. That's why I texted you. I was like, hey, have you heard of Coffeezilla?
Mm-hmm.
And for people who don't know, he's like he like kind of out scammers.
Mm-hmm.
He outed the whole Bitcoin thing, and like he was saying that investigative reporting is so expensive they actually lose money on
Yeah.
like doing those kinds of things, so they kind of steer away from it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I don't know what is
Because
the solution
there's
here?
a
Like,
lot more. See, the investigative journalism is not happening in broadcast television. They're not doing that, right? The
right,
only ones that are doing
okay,
it would be the newspaper, but it's still newspaper money. Like who's buying newspapers, right?
totally.
So
Some yeah.
it's still there, but it's not as relevant as it used to be.
My real question is, are we venturing towards a point where people are just fully manipulated? Like we were kind of manipulated before with like, the printing press and I don't know, like social media headlines, right? But now it's like they're doing it in a way, or it's the potential is that you can see something that seems so real that it'll just make you believe that thing's real. You
Yeah,
know what I
there will
mean?
be
Like,
people that will take advantage of that. Yes.
did you see those fake videos of Ukraine, and then it turned out that they were just like CGIing the destruction? Do you remember that when it first
Yeah,
started?
yeah,
And
or
it
it's
was
like an
all on social
older,
media.
or it's like an older video of some other place,
Right,
not the actual place. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right. So, and then all these people.
Like that's why it's
Actually,
like
this is so trippy.
that's why it's like who where you're getting that source from, because a lot of the people, again, it's like there is some credence to broadcasts where they would have to have corrections, but I feel like
Totally.
online news is there's nothing like that.
So like the strong solidarity towards like supporting Ukraine. I mean, I just don't want to make it seem like it's like callous, this point of view, but like with the strong
Mm-hmm.
solidarity, how much of that was built off of people who saw stuff that was happening online, and how much of that stuff online was fake? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
how
sure.
many of those people actually like watched the news versus like getting into like the sphere of like the vacuum,
Yeah.
you know? And then you just see it everywhere now. Like driving down the street, there's like all these ads, like digital billboards now. It's like a new thing. So like when you're driving towards like Scarborough Town or Pickering Town Center, they have some too. So like there's all these like Ukraine pictures and stuff. And I'm like, I don't feel any solidarity towards it because I mean war is terrible, but at the same point it's like I didn't really invest my attention in that direction. But like what about those people that are doing it and then they're just getting fed the feedback loop of the algorithm and some of those videos are fake and then they're just getting more and more heated and it's like, why are you getting heated? That's not even real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's a small example of how you can do this en masse, right? So a bigger issue, like I don't know, like policies. I feel like we can become like quickly policed in that way if you control information, and like that's a big fear of mine right now because it's like where does it lead?
Yeah, you gotta. That's where you're like who's posting those things up, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but nobody checks that either, though.
Yeah.
It's like you'll see it and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm assuming it's real.
Yeah, but are you listening to the kind of questions that they're asking? Let's just say our prime minister or something. Like, how much are we sending? Like, how much? Like, to what point do we stop support? Like, there's these kinds of questions happening too. Those are like who are putting up those ads? Are they Ukrainian? Like, I don't know, not bots. No, just like people that are like of Ukrainian descent. Of course, they're going to put that up, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It all depends on like where that thing's coming. That is an ad thing, so that's no matter what's going to be supporting of whatever they're trying to do, right? So
yeah, totally.
That's why it's like, well, you have to look into like what is exactly happening, like how much are we doing the support, and are we supporting as a country? We are the prime minister supporting, well, in representation of our country, right? But these are all things sometimes you forget, like these are all because we're allied with the US. We have these kind of treaties that we have to do. We have to be in these positions we've said that we're going to do this, so we have to do it. Like there's a lot of these things that are not being really explained to people.
Like exactly my point. And it's like if you look into it, it's like, do you really support it, or are you just supporting the ideology? It's like the biggest one for me that really, because I saw it myself, was the COVID freaking shot thing in the beginning. Remember, I was so like, if you don't get the shot, you're evil. Because like I thought that's what you told me, that I'll stop the spread, and then it turns out that's not true. So it's like, what are you still believing based on false information, like you were saying? And it's like, who has the time to actually look into all of these things? Unless you really care. I get it if your family's Ukrainian, totally. I'd be like, yeah, that sucks. But like, I roll with a Russian dude at jiu-jitsu, and this guy's amazing, right? He's such a nice person. Do I hate him because his country's invading Ukraine?
Right, but it's not. It shouldn't even be about that. Though. It's not a Russian people thing, right? It's.
But like we said, if you're Ukrainian, of course you're going to support this issue. Or if you know somebody's Ukrainian, you're going to support this issue. But I know a Russian dude, so I'm like, ugh, do I just like fly the Ukrainian flag in his face? Like, your people are evil,
Yeah, right.
It's like,
well, it's not about his people too, though, right? That's the thing.
No, but it became that, though, right?
No, it became that, but the push was that it's not Ukrainian people. It's the government.
You mean Russian people?
Sorry, it's the Russian. Yeah, it's not the Russian people. That was also what was pushed in the beginning too, because there was a lot of hate against Russians, and they were fighting back against that, saying that it's not the Russian people, it's the government.
Okay. Another good example is when COVID started, Asian hate became on the rise.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's the virus. It's not Chinese people, bro. But we have a hard time separating the two in our own
of course.
minds.
Yeah. Yeah. That's humans. Yeah.
Right. And it takes a more sentient individual to like question in order to overcome these like stereotypical biases, being like, oh, you're Russian, so your people are evil, so I hate you because of what you're doing in Ukraine. It's like it's not accurate, right? How many people are willing to take that step? You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. I think it all
And
depends.
this is
Yeah.
what scares me. This is what scares me because like with AI, with all this stuff, it's like sure we can believe the good in people that like okay maybe they're going to wise up and like people will actually look into the information, but is that actually often the case?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have a great example that leads into the next topic of Elon Musk on BBC. I'll just quickly say it before we go into the BBC because I still want to talk about this topic. So I sent it to these people. They're all marketers, right?
Hmm.
So like as marketers or business people, we would listen to this through a business lens, correct? Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
interview,
Of course.
right? So I was like, oh, this is a great interview of Elon Musk explaining all of his actions. That's what I said.
Hmm.
And then I got back like quote, my dog is the CEO of Twitter. Haha, that's the best quote of all time. And I was like, are you listening to the thing or are you looking at like the silliness? You know what I'm saying? And that made me realize like, wait, we're all operating on different levels. Even if you're educated in business, you're still ignoring because you don't like Elon Musk. Like they're the people I sent it to. The reason why I sent it is because they don't like Elon Musk.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, he's making some strong points. Listen to this thing,
Hmm.
and then they were like, they couldn't hear it. They were still like in so much hate that they only listened to his
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
stupid jokes. They're
Hmm.
like, but this is people, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So how do we, if you have more AI information, like I think what you're saying is true in an idealistic scenario where it's like people should be
No,
more
I think what I'm
object.
trying to
I
say
don't
is
think
that
they are.
no. What I'm trying to say is that um, people are not listening to the actual authorities,
Okay.
right? People are falling for the propaganda.
This is my fear because it's
Yeah.
like with AI, you can create easier propaganda that people will
Hmm.
believe,
Yeah.
which is like, okay, what are we going to do now?
But this
Like, how
is
do you,
you can't stop it. This has
and
been happening for
this
years.
is
Like
my fear.
we did that with the
But no,
Japanese
no,
people, right? We did it with.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, no, totally. Like
Hmm.
it's been happening for years, but now the medium is so believable.
Hmm.
Like before it was like written, right? So you're like, it's written. I didn't see it. But now you could see it, hear it. And you're like, what?
Yeah, I think
Like,
even
bro, did you see this video? You know what I mean? Like you're like, dude, look at this video.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
oh my god, that's crazy. And it's
Hmm.
like, dude, that's a fake video. You're
Yeah,
like, oh, like
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's generally like a lot of
Have-
the
have-
older people would fall for that too, right? I feel like hopefully the younger people will be able to figure out what's real,
totally,
right?
totally.
If
You
that's
ever see a
possible.
physics? You ever
There
see the
was
physics channel on Instagram? Like,
no.
okay, so like,
Oh,
I think it's
sometimes you
called
send me
weird.
some things from them. From
Yeah,
them.
it's called like weird. It's the weird physics.
Oh, okay, okay.
So like those videos, it shows you physics in a weird way. Like,
Mm.
one example is like you play sound and then it affects the sand,
Yep.
right? And it makes a pattern of sand. I've never tested that. I just shared it as if it was true because I was like, dude, this is crazy. I'm assuming because you're called weird physics that you are telling me an actual physics thing.
Right.
But what if that's CGI?
It's true. Yeah. No, I remember.
You know what I'm saying?
No. I
But
remember
this is the
you.
thing.
No, you. I remember you sent me this one
I
video.
said that video with the ball going in,
down, and it's no, that's CGI.
and then everything landed perfectly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like he created this like maze for like marbles or something, and
Yeah.
then like when it all fell, it was a perfect landing on everything.
Yeah. It
And I was like,
all.
oh, that's crazy. It
Yeah.
landed in the correct spaces that
Mhm.
it should have landed. And then you were like, that's impossible. Like you're like, that's fake.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I got fooled. You know? So what does that mean for other people? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we know
Yeah.
the game.
Hmm.
We know the game and we're getting fooled.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, good luck to other people that don't know the game.
Right. Yeah. It's.
All right.
Yeah. We don't know what that's gonna cause to the.
Do you remember the big hack?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It has like 500 data points on every person, and then it can like skew
Oh, yeah.
you in a different way, right? So I was saying that to some people, like, so basically, this one person got reintroduced to another person, like recently. They're like, "Oh, I haven't seen you in years," and then Facebook fed them a picture of them together. And they're
Right.
like, "Oh, it's uncanny timing," right? And I was like, "Oh, it's just the algorithm." You ever see the big hack? And they're like, "No." So I'm like, if you haven't even seen the big hack, you don't understand how social media works. How, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
so many. Like, the person was like, I choose to believe it was like the magic of the universe. Because they were so scared that when I said, like, oh, it's just data points, they just knew that
Right, right,
you guys
right.
were going to end up together. You know what I mean? What do you do with those people? the, they're just going to be faked. They're just going to be like
Yeah, but
sent down
but
this.
I feel like again, he's already. I get that what you're saying. There is an explanation to it, but a lot of people still put things that happen in the universe as like it was meant to be, or like you know what I mean. Like we don't understand the algorithm
God's
of yeah,
intervention.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But
those are
that's what I
still the same
mean.
people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally. But it's like, how do you, if the tools are getting better and the people remain the same, well, we have a problem here. Those people need to educate themselves or something, or we need to introduce like, remember like when social media came out, they were proposing classes like social media 101 classes in high school, like how to best use it, like what it is.
I don't think I had that. No.
We never actually took part in it. They just said they were gonna bring it up because social media was getting crazy, and like I feel like that's the best approach.
And we had different
Like,
kinds of social media growing up. We didn't have just one or like a few.
yeah. We had like Friendster and
Yeah,
like
we went
MySpace.
through
Yeah,
so many different varieties of it.
yeah, totally. Which is actually really trippy when you think about it, because it's like we grew up in the time. So like, let's say 100 years from now, there's only 4 social media companies. Let's say like
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Let's say those are the only ones. LinkedIn too, whatever. Um, but those are like, we actually watch the development of those legacy social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Like 100 years from now, they're like, oh, these are the top ones. We actually grew up watching the fight for it,
Yeah.
because we remember like MySpace, we remember like Friendster, Google Hangouts, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like,
Yeah.
there's all these like
Mm-hmm.
competing, and who's gonna make it to the top, you know? Yeah. The internet's a weird time. Which actually made me think about the Mario thing in Dungeon of Dragons, because you saw Mario, I saw Dungeon of Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else about the weirdness of technology before I move into that thought?
No, technology just we don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be crazy
Yeah,
with
I'm reading.
AI. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
right.
I know people
I
believed in the Pope picture.
I believed in the Trump being arrested. I didn't look at it quickly. Like, I skimmed it and I was like, wait, what? And I had to relook at it, and then I was like, this looks oddly, like, it doesn't look correct. So I was like, is this
Right.
real?
Mm-hmm.
And then I follow an AI feed as well, and the AI feed was like renders of Trump getting arrested. I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's a good thing I followed the AI feed, or else I would have like been questioning, did he just get arrested?
Right.
Remember, I sent it to you guys.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
sent it
Yeah.
to you
Yeah.
guys. I was like, what's going on with Trump right now? Because I thought he got arrested
Mm-hmm.
from those photos.
Mm-hmm.
I had to just like verify it. Yeah. Like, this is I'm trying to read Brave New World right now, which is about how technology gets out of hand. And I read 1984, which is like the manipulation of information. And it's like 1984 and Brave New World are like kind of happening right now.
Right.
Where it's like technology is getting so crazy, but also how are we manipulating information and manipulate
Mm-hmm.
people?
I feel like the default
Yeah.
should just be skeptical of whatever you see. We don't know if it's true or not.
I agree with you. Yeah, but that's healthy skepticism,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I feel like some people just don't even have it. Like, even
No,
when I
yeah.
said that,
I think we grew up at a different time too. Even like
oh, this person grew up in art, like they're my age, who I was like, have you seen The Big Hack? And they're like, no.
mm-hmm.
They just gravitated not towards
Right.
like this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I know 3 people our age who didn't gravitate towards the stuff, and they were tripping out when I was explaining like algorithms to them, like social media algorithms. It's like, you don't even know about that.
Right.
It's
Right.
wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, the Mario and the Dungeons and Dragons thing, it really made me think about how nothing is new now. We're getting a lot of regurgitation. Like, Mario came up when we were kids. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you were like, oh, it's nostalgic because it reminded me of
The games we played as kids.
Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally,
Mario
right.
Kart.
And then Dungeons and Dragons is like such an old game.
Hmm.
So it's like, are we just like rehashing the same things over and over? Like, will it never get any better than this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what has come out?
Mm, it's a risk to go venture into things that isn't new, right?
Right, I forgot. Yeah. Movies are like gambles. You're
Yeah.
trying to make your money back. Right. So if you go with something safe, which you know that people have seen
Hmm.
before,
But there's also a risk in doing things you
right?
haven't done before. Like there is a risk in doing Dungeons and Dragons because there is a fan base
Mm,
that could bash it.
right.
Same
True.
thing with
There was an
Mario
old
too.
Dungeons and Dragons movie. There was the
There was an
old
older
one.
one. Okay.
Yeah, it got terrible though. This one was really funny. It's like it all
Hmm.
came down to the script.
Right.
Like I've never played Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
I see how they were trying to make it like if you played the game, like I was reading the comments, like if you played the game, you'll appreciate this movie because there were a couple moments where they were kind of talking about it like a game,
Hmm.
but it was so widely appealing because of the comedy that like anybody can get on board with it.
Right. Right.
So they like they made it they like safeguarded their investment that way. They're like, we'll make it adhere to the game so that the diehards will kind of love it, but then we'll make it open enough that anybody can watch it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You want to have that. You want to bring in as many audiences as possible, but you want to add those
Yeah,
little
totally.
Easter eggs for the people that like this stuff. Yeah.
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 I really during COVID, I was like really believing that movies would die out because I'm like, yeah, it's everything's online.
Hmm.
Like why would I go to the theater? But I really don't see it moving
I think it
away from the theater.
depends. Well, there's a change that's happened. I don't
They'll
think,
they'll take a hit. They'll take a hit. I'm not saying that they won't take a hit monetarily,
but
but
I think
I don't think it'll die.
I think the yeah, I get that. They would probably, I don't know, they won't die. Radio isn't even dead yet. So,
That's fair. Yeah, true. You're right.
um, so, but what I seen what's happened, which I kind of like, is like if a movie isn't doing well in theaters, they'll release it onto like streaming platforms relatively earlier than usual.
Oh, totally. Yeah, fair. What was that Guy Ritchie movie that just came out? The Fortune something?
Something, yeah.
Man of Fortune. It's on Prime,
Yeah,
and
right.
but it couldn't get a release date anywhere, so they just had to push it to Prime. I knew he was filming that for a while because like I love Guy Ritchie, so I was waiting for this movie. But
Hmm.
then it wasn't coming out. I was like, what? When is it? Like I searched it because it was coming out in the UK for like select theaters. I'm like,
Right.
what? So probably it's coming to Canada. And then it turned out that they were putting it on Prime. And then I saw the review and it was so bad. I'm like, okay, you're right. Like they'll
Yeah,
just put it to streaming if they
yeah.
can't put it in theaters.
Because with the
Yeah.
streaming, at least they're for sure getting some money. In the aspect of
Yeah.
the like, okay,
Totally.
well, we'll give it to you Prime. So, but what's our deal, right? Like,
Right. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. You'll sell it for a lower cost.
yeah,
At least you'll make something rather than
something.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was like looking at the posters that were in the movie theater yesterday when we went to watch Dungeons and Dragons, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of movies that are like even last week's podcast after we ended,
Hmm.
we were going through movies that were coming out, and I was like, oh, there's like a ton of actually like
Yeah.
big block
Right.
movies coming out. So it's like,
We're not in the
it
swing of
won't
it. Generally,
die.
generally we'll see all the ads or and stuff like as summer approaches, right? It's just
Yeah, totally.
these are generally when that happens. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really don't think it's going away
No.
like anytime soon. It's just the experience is just so nice. You're like locked away
Hmm.
for that amount of time. Yeah, and there's certain movies that like you have to see in theaters, like Top Gun. If
Yeah.
you stream that, you're not going to hear the crazy jet
Hmm.
sounds and
Yeah. There's an
like
experience
that.
for
You know what I
movies.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an
Yeah.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
Top Gun's one of those movies, like the new Top Gun, is one of those movies I saw like 4 times or something, and I never got bored once
Hmm.
because it wasn't the storyline. Storyline's so basic, right? But it was more of like the fighter jets. It really felt because I saw it 4 times in theaters, and the theater experience is like it's like the rumble, the sound of the jet. You're
Mhm.
like, oh, I'm like in the plane with this guy.
Yeah.
But I haven't streamed it since. You know, like I have no intention to watch it on my like laptop
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's like it's on there. It's not like you can't feel the rumble.
Mhm.
You know? Yeah. Or like even what's his name? Christopher Nolan with Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be another experience that you have to see and hear on the big screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's always been that pushing for it to be on big screen. Like even during the middle
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
pandemic with Tenet.
Tenet. Yeah, yeah. And it was the only good movie that came out, so I saw that so many times in
Yeah. Yeah.
theaters. There's nothing else.
And he was
It's like,
pushing for it to be in theaters. Like.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it was like, yeah, the quality was so good.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Movies are great, man. Okay. Anything else about movies?
No, there's a lot.
Before.
There's a lot coming out that hasn't been really like you. I think it'll be pushed in the next few months. Like the
Okay, cool. When like Indiana
advertisements.
Jones, I didn't even know.
Yeah, I
Did you
didn't.
see the Indiana Jones one?
I didn't see the trailer, but I heard of that one.
Saw the poster, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Or the Blue Beetle. When you sent me the Blue Beetle, I was like, wait,
Yeah,
what? This is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
But I hadn't seen it yet.
Yeah. Well, they just released the trailer, right? When I showed it to you, maybe like a week or two ago was when they put it up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's like now there's just the trailer, but like the push for like advertising, like for people to go to the movies, it'll happen during that time or close to the release and stuff like that. So
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So there are blockbusters coming out. Or The Flash. I haven't seen that
too.
trailer yet.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like closer to the date, we'll
And these are
actually
all
see.
summer blockbusters generally, right? Summer or Christmas. That's like the
Mm.
big hits when they come out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I never asked you. What do you think about your Apple Watch?
Oh, yeah,
Use it?
yeah, I use it. Yeah,
Yeah. Is it
daily.
like is it as good as you had envisioned, or like, or your use case?
For the use case, yeah, it's working out as what I assumed it to
Um,
be to do so. Like
what
just
do you use it for? Like,
no,
do
like
you,
if I'm at work or if I
okay.
get a message or an email, like if I'm away from my phone.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So those kinds of
No, I turned that
things.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I couldn't deal with that because it was like too much for me, at
Hmm.
least. There's like too many notifications that I was like, and I'd want to check it. Um, do you use it? Have you used the alarm yet? Or do you still use your like clock alarm?
Uh, I use.
Like in the mornings?
Yeah, I still have the phone by me, but I'm doing the sleep thing too, right? So it'll alarm on the watch as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I find that one is way better and way safer because sometimes you can sleep through the alarm and you're like it's kind of freaky, you know. You have
Hmm.
anxiety waking up in the morning, but like with the Apple Watch, it hits you
Yeah.
so you like you actually wake up. I like that version of like an alarm better.
Hmm.
You know, it just feels safer. I don't know. Yeah. Do you find that you charge it in between showers, like you're saying,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
or oh, okay, so
Yeah.
you don't wear it
But I don't do it
in
every
the
day.
water?
I haven't done it every day, like charging. But
Oh,
um,
really?
yeah.
Wait, which one do you have? Ultra?
No, no, no. Series 8, just an I don't know which one, but not the
Okay.
Ultra.
Oh, because I was
The
like,
one before the
oh,
Ultra, I
how do
think.
you? Because I was like, how do you last that long for like the battery?
Uh, I don't know.
Like every. Oh well, all right. No, actually, yeah, probably you would. I just use it to track while I'm at jujitsu too, so I'm probably taxing the battery by like,
Yeah, I
you know,
haven't
the activity.
used the activity ones fully
Yeah.
yet.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was like, what?
I
How
did
did
it like
that?
maybe once or
My one.
twice for the activity only so far.
Oh, okay, okay. Oh, so it's more like, so you strictly use it for like notifications as a remote kind of thing.
Hmm. Yeah, because I don't
Okay.
always have my phone on me.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. True. Yeah. Do you have
So,
the do you have the volume on it thing?
I did, but it was kind of like you get it on both
It's
the
too tiny,
phone and
eh?
that. So yeah, I just
Oh,
turned it
okay. Got
to.
it. Got it.
Uh,
Well,
um,
why do you? I sent you that video that like the people who like have the audio on. Why do you do it? I'm just curious.
because I can't hear it.
What do you mean? Oh, the buzz.
No, no, like if I get a text message.
Oh, when you don't have your phone right next to you.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I have my phone like facing me at all times.
Yeah.
That's
So
why
even
I'm
even
like,
if it was facing me, I don't see it.
oh, okay, interesting. All
Right. I'm
right.
watching something, and even if it was going up, I don't see it, and then I'm like, oh shoot, I missed like a phone call.
Yeah, okay. Okay, that explains it.
So
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm
I
I'm
always
wearing
wondered about that.
headphones, so
Yeah.
I'm not. That's why I need to have it, or I'm not gonna feel the
Right, right,
yeah.
right. Okay, okay.
So
All
the
right, makes
phone, the
sense.
watch helps with that too, right? So that way, this is in silent, but it's buzzing onto my hand, so then I can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I.
Yeah, I always wondered about people who like their use cases for tech, like
Mhm.
why people use it, you know? Because like for me, I like turned off all notifications on my watch because I want to use it as a tracker. But like, why do other people use it? You know?
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyways, so the main thing I want to talk about what's our time right now?
Oh, 34 minutes, 35.
Oh, sweet, sweet, sweet. All right, perfect, perfect. So Elon Musk's BBC interview.
Mhm.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah.
Okay, so what did you think of it? Yeah.
Um. In what sense? I think that I've seen enough of Elon to know this is how he's going to be.
Right.
Like,
Okay. All right. Let's first talk about the before we get into the insights. Let's talk about the reporter
okay.
because that was the most like shocking part of that interview. Did you notice that the reporter was trying to be provocative and like ask him questions to try and like spin it in a way?
Yeah, of
And
course.
Elon's
Yeah,
like,
but I
"You
don't
do
think
it."
he's got enough experience as a reporter to be as good as the other ones that are better at
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and
Or,
I
and
think
you
I
didn't.
don't, and I think he maybe he hasn't watched enough of Elon, but maybe he's just not. He wasn't prepared how much he wasn't as prepared as Elon to like how to deal with media.
What do you mean media? Like
Like
with the backlash? Like
no,
post
no. I
interview,
mean
or I
like no,
mean?
no, no. I mean like when you're prepping for an interview,
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah.
right? He didn't have his stuff. Whatever he's mentioning,
Oh,
he didn't
yeah,
have
yeah. You
anything to
didn't.
back up his thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah. You were just.
generally reporters have the questions that they're asking come with evidence.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, okay, yes. Okay, so the reporter reminded me of everyone online that doesn't have the evidence, but they're just pushing an idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's really awkward because it was, it's like the way he was responding, like, oh, there's some more hate speech. It's like, how do you know there's more hate speech? Like
Hmm.
when I heard that too, right? Like it was going around when Elon was doing that whole stuff. And then they're like, oh, he like removed those people, so now there's more hate speech because there's less people to police that,
Hmm.
right? And I even asked, do you guys use Twitter? Like the people that hate
Right.
Elon, the ones who I sent the video to, they were like, yeah, he's so outrageous and like he's out of control. And I was like, do you guys use Twitter? I don't even use Twitter. Like I use it to like post, but I'm not like actively using it. And
Hmm.
like, no, I don't really use it. So I'm like, how do you know that that is the case, or are you just repeating something you heard?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that's what the reporter was doing. He's repeating something he heard,
Yeah. Hmm.
which actually turned out to be the case, which is awkward because he got caught in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's like, and like,
Like he shouldn't like especially that point where I think is like saying that there's hate speech. It's like he's saying that he saw
you
hate
gotta come with an
speech.
example, bro.
Yeah, yeah. There's no for him to say he saw. He should have just stuck
Yeah,
to.
I
He should
know.
have just stuck to saying that the studies are showing. That way, it's not like
Yeah,
him. When he made it personal, that's when he got caught.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, 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 exactly. And that's the thing about people, right? Who argue these points. It's like they're saying it from their own perspective, but then if you check it, it's like they've never even like done
Hmm.
like him being like, I've seen it. And then they're trying to backtrack with, why don't you just admit like, yeah, you're right. You caught me. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when
yeah,
Elon
yeah,
was pushing back, why didn't you just say you caught me?
right.
I would have had more respect for him because we could just rewind the video, right? Like that was the crazy part. It's like he tried to make it sound like he didn't actually say. Maybe he's like, no, I didn't actually say that. It's like, okay, let's just jump back 30
Right,
seconds and
right, right.
rewatch that. Oh, you did actually say that.
Hmm.
So it's like it's making you look even worse, you know. But don't we know people like that? You know what I mean? Like that's
I
like the
think I think I
general
think I
public.
think also what was good, what was funny actually, what threw him off was when Elon was asking him questions.
True
That was
too. Yeah. He's like, I didn't prep for
yeah.
these things. Yeah. Even the personal questions where he's like, do you like the BBC? Why didn't you just say yes? Like when he's like,
Yeah.
oh, this isn't about me. It's like now it just seems worse that you're trying to avoid saying you like the BBC.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, do you not like the BBC? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
but this is the thing when you press people for their ideas, it's like they don't they don't believe in their own ideas, so they're just repeating a platitude, and that platitude is showing how much you don't even know
So
about
it
what you're
seemed like
saying.
yeah, it seemed like the interview person isn't. He's just doing an interview. He just actually had no idea about what he's talking about. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's just like me, or it's like some random person. You just interview him. Here's the questions, but he
Yeah,
has.
yeah.
That's
It's
what
true.
what
It's
it
true.
was. Yeah, I feel like that's
And
what
he
it
was
was.
towing the line. He was towing like the ideological line that everyone's saying.
Hmm.
Like everyone's saying that there's more hate speech, so I'm gonna say it too, and I'm gonna seem like I'm on the same side as everyone
Yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah.
Which is
And
why
I
I
mean,
felt like,
I've been using
yeah,
Twitter before and after Elon, right?
yeah, no, totally, yeah,
I think
yeah, you're a Twitter fan.
it's been the same.
Yeah, it's like, well, what? Actually, no. I've noticed that when Elon took over, my stuff started picking up, like more interactions on my stuff.
Hmm.
Whereas before, it was like being suppressed, and I was like, oh, I guess I didn't care. I don't care about
Yeah,
reactions
yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah.
all that stuff. But like, I noticed that people were commenting back more, like liking it, and I was like, oh, that's weird. All because
Hmm.
all started when he took over, and I know this for a fact because I got like nothing before, and then all of a sudden the switch, and then more
Again, I don't
interactions.
know. Like, it depends on what kind of moderation they changed, right? What rules did they change on moderation? So maybe it's like if you're posting more, you're gonna get more reactions.
Oh, I see what you're
You know what
saying.
I mean? Like, you don't. What was the actual thing that was changed
Yeah,
since he
yeah,
got
yeah.
in? So I don't know if those are part of the rules or not. I don't know. But like for me as a content viewer, I didn't see anything like different in that sense.
Right. Yeah, totally. My feed was still my feed.
Yeah.
So I was like, what hate speech? What are we talking about here?
Hmm.
All right, let's go through some of the other interesting points on that. The firing of people was
Hmm.
fascinating to me. When he explained, like, all right, this is, all right. When people were like, the people that didn't like Elon Musk that I was sending the video to, they were like, look, he just laid off a bunch of his staff. And my response was, you're right, that's kind of crazy, but he is a good business person. Like, look at SpaceX and Tesla. We need to see, like, we need to figure out why he did that. Like, he's not impulsive. He's not just gonna fire people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
But they thought he was like, oh, he's so impulsive, whatever. But then when he explained how
The people
they're
not
running,
do people not understand how business works? Like,
that's my point. That's my point. The people I'm talking to are business people. So I would expect these people like
hmm,
you must like Elon. He's one of the most successful business people.
right, right.
But you hate him. Why do you hate him?
Hmm.
Because of the
Yeah,
ideology.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I like pushing against that ideology. It's like, why do you believe what you believe? You know? So, anyways, um, so when he explained how Twitter was running a deficit and they had 4 months to live, and then he's like, we have to let these people go or else everyone, because like, remember the reporter's like, well, did you have to let everyone go? And then he's like, it's either let everyone go so that some people have a job or nobody has a
Yeah,
job.
exactly.
And it's like, yeah, duh, even when there are like layoffs
It's not like
in,
that's the other thing too. It's not like do people not know people get I forgot what the word is. Uh, they're not like even though when they're laid off, they're compensated
a severance
for
package.
a
Yeah,
severance
yeah,
package. Yeah, that's the word. Do people get a
yeah.
severance package? So they have
Yeah,
three
it's not like
months.
you just walked out with nothing. Yeah.
Yeah,
You have 3 months. Yeah, totally.
2 to 3
Or sometimes
months.
more, he said.
Yeah,
No, he's like 3 months, and then like some people got more,
yeah,
depending on how long they were at Twitter,
exactly. Yeah,
right? So it's like he didn't just leave these people out on the street. And then when the reporter was like, I love how Elon. Before I say what the reporter said, I love how Elon was like, it's common sense, and he even like went like this, it's like, yeah, it's common sense, bro. Like, if you have no money, everyone's gone. So
Yeah,
what do you want me to do? And they
exactly.
even asked the reporter like, what would you have done? And the reporter was like, I'm not being interviewed here. It's like, because you don't know. We trust the person in charge. Like, he's built successful businesses.
Yeah.
You know.
I think
Uh,
that's why I think the issue was he was not coming with good faith questions. He was just coming with
yes,
ways to just
an
attack
agenda.
him. Yeah, an agenda, ways to just attack him. But if you look at all the things he's done, it's like these are logical things. These are things that you would have done too
Completely
if you were in
logical.
this position.
Exactly. And then the reporter's like, well, did you not feel sympathy? He's like, of course, it sucks firing people. Like Elon said that. It was like, yeah, but you have to do like there's this line that I use,
Mm-hmm.
um, where it's like heavy lies the crown. So your boss, like we both have bosses. So it's like our boss has a harder job than us
Mm-hmm.
because they have to fire us if it comes time.
Right.
That's a hard job. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to deal with more pressure, like emotional pressure,
Mm-hmm.
right? So heavy lies the crown. So like the reporter had no answer, but Elon has to do the job. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, of course it's gonna hurt. Like when he said that.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
Yeah.
did it hurt when people? Of course it did,
Mm-hmm.
but it needed to get done, or else we were just gonna lose everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Makes total sense. The other thing that I thought was super fascinating was when he asked Elon, like, well, how much are you worth? Because you hear this all the time, right? Like, oh, you're like $200 billion, right? And then Elon's like, no, that's not true. But then when he's like, well, you could have just like bought the stock, right, to pay off the debts of Twitter. It's like, well, that just shows me the reporter isn't a very good business person.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Elon said, well, businesses have to run on their own, or
Yeah.
else that's just a waste of, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it just shows the lack of knowledge for that reporter.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that reporter represents everyone. Not everyone. Represents like a large majority of people that don't really know what's going on, but they have some weird ideology of
Sure.
like how they think things work.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
And then Elon, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then Elon was like, if I sell my Tesla stock, people will think that I have no faith in Tesla. So there's a ramification there.
Exactly.
And he's like, I can only sell stock during certain periods. There's only an amount I can pay. So when he was explaining all this, it's like, yeah, this is all business, bro. Like, it's not that easy. Just because I'm like worth $200 billion doesn't mean I could just like buy everything I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's $200 billion in stock. I don't have like cash.
Right. Right.
Again, people don't
And
know
I think
this.
that's a different thing that people don't understand too. It's like he owns the stock. That means that if the company is doing well, only he's making money. So his money is based on the business.
Yeah, totally,
Also,
totally,
right? So
totally.
it's like it's not like he actually has the cash.
Yeah, he's no cash. Like, he's not Apple, who's like sitting on their cash reserves, right? Doesn't Apple like they have trillions of dollars in actual cash because of Steve Jobs when he went bankrupt. When Apple went bankrupt that one time, he's like, we need cash reserves, so they actually like hold cash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he's not like that. Like, people who say like I'm worth this amount of money, like there's a difference between
Well, that's Apple. Apple as a company may have thing, but it's not persons.
No, totally. But like, I think what people don't know and what the reporter doesn't know is that there's like assets and liquidity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, liquidity means you have cash on hand to pay your debts. So you could have like billions of dollars of assets, but if you can't pay your debts,
Right.
then your company's gonna fold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like Elon might be worth 200 billion in assets, but liquidity, like how much do you actually have on hand in your bank account?
Yeah.
It's wild. Yeah. What was another thing that stood out to me in that interview? Anything stand out to you?
No, I think this is. I read all of these things before, right? Like I knew what was going on through the Twitter thing, so it's like why he backed out.
Oh,
right?
that was a good one actually. When he explained why he backed out, and it was like this was the best example where it's like you promise to buy, where he's like, you say you're going to buy a whole warehouse full of stuff, and then you actually check out the warehouse and you find out that most of the warehouse is like useless. So you don't want to pay the same amount that you offer to buy it at.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? It's like, that is so logical, of course, right? That's why he wanted to back out. And then when the guy was like, he tried to catch him, remember? He's like, or did you still buy it because you were afraid you would be sued? He's like, yes. And it's like, well, and then he's like, I don't know what to say now. Because like he was trying to catch Elon in a thing, but then Elon was honest, and the reporter like didn't know where to go from there.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, yeah, of course, like if you promise to buy something, but then you find out that the goods you wanted to buy aren't worth that much, it's like, why would you?
Exactly, yeah.
Why would you pay that much?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought it was also funny when he said like the people that did like the poison pill, right? And then when he backed out of the deal, like, no, you still have to buy it. It's like, wait, weren't you the people that said you didn't want me to buy it? You know? But they probably like promised, like with, you know, they would get more money. And they were excited about and they wanted
I think
to spend that money, you know? Yeah, you were gonna say something?
No, I think they probably looked into their own books and realized that it's probably a better idea to sell it then. That's probably what happened. Right? Yeah.
But then nobody thinks about that point. Like the reporter didn't, when he brought up that logical point, he's like, weren't you the people that didn't want me to buy it in the first place? Like the reporter didn't notice that because he came with an agenda, you know? He had like maybe this is the lesson here. It's like if you come with a preconceived notion or like an agenda, you can't look at things objectively. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want it to be wrong right away, you'll only look at the things that are like, it's like what do you call it? Like a self-fulfilling bias or something like that, like a reinforcement bias. You're just looking at the things that reinforce your side,
right?
Rather than actually looking at it objectively. You know? Yeah. Oh, and the other thing about the free speech, I thought that was pretty fascinating too, where he's like, we just want to be like, who is the arbiter of free speech? You know, and they're like, oh, you should block these people, like the people that are like talking about hate speech, and it's like, what do you qualify as hate speech? And then who gets to qualify what hate speech is?
He also said like, what based on what he said he saw was like slightly hate. What does that mean?
Yeah, slightly hate. So it's like what? Actually, this brings up another topic and another point. Pause. We're gonna segue here. Did you see that thing where if you like dead name someone or use the wrong pronouns, you could be sued?
Yeah. Again, I saw that as the headline.
Okay, fair. You're right. Let's assume that's actually what's going to happen. Like, you can be sued for that. How come I can't sue you if I call you a bad name?
So probably you could.
Like, oh, really?
Well, what I'm saying is, if I go by,
so it was like,
if I go by if I go by it, based on like just the headline kind of thing, it must be worded in a way. I don't think it's specifically saying necessarily gender. Let's say, but it's probably worded in a way that if you're it's like I don't know, a harassment or whatever it may be.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So you could like twist it to a different way. Yeah.
Oh, but the headline said like...
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like you have to read the actual bill. What is actually in it? What is it? Is it broad enough that you can use other things? So like whenever they say like you can't... These offices can't have, I don't know, something to do with religion, right? They can't be specific to our religion. That would be racist. Or, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
But they have to be broad that it affects all religion. So you can't have it specific. It never works like that.
So, okay, so for people that don't know, the thing that we're talking about is this new bill that they're trying to pass where if you like use the wrong pronoun or you use their dead name. You know what dead naming is?
Yeah, what they used to go by. Right?
Yeah, okay. So,
their old name.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, if you use that, then you have the potential to be sued. But what you're saying is maybe if you read the article, it's about like using it intentionally to harass that individual.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, maybe those harassment rules are probably already there. They're just maybe
They're
adding
just
to
including
it
that
or
now.
adding, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But I've never heard of anyone, like if I was like, hey, F you, man,
Mhm.
I've never heard anybody suing another person for saying that.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It'll clash with
That's what you see what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, so it's like, how come
You
I,
can no, like you can have these things pass, but it may not be actually like um
provable? Like, you can't like win.
provable or yeah, yeah, winnable kind of
So it's like,
arguments in court.
right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I
because
see what you're saying.
because like in the US, like a lot of artists, based on what they say in songs, right? A lot of these rappers used to go to court for those things, but
Yeah. Yeah.
nobody lost the case because it's called freedom of speech. What he's talking about
Right.
is a
Right.
different
Right. Right.
thing, right? So
So it might be there as a deterrent, but you can't actually enforce it, is what you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, I can see that point. I just like when I first saw it, I was like, that's weird. That like I can literally swear at you and call you a ton of bad names and I will not be in trouble. But if I like dead name you or use the wrong gender, it's like I will be in trouble. It's like, well, that's weird.
Yeah, exactly. As I said,
Like,
it's going to be a hard thing. I feel like this is. I have to look into it. I don't know what exactly it entails in the bill. What is it exactly saying? Like, how is it worded? And then if it has to go through so many processes that it may not pass, or it may pass the certain part, but is it going to pass the next step?
okay, you know what I found kind of weird? What I find kind of weird about this whole situation? Education rates are lowering. All right, this is gonna sound really bad, but it's very logical. Okay, so I should have prefaced that just so I don't get in trouble. Okay, so education rates are lowering, right? People are not good at math, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are not good at English. We got rid of cursive writing. You don't need like you can use a calculator now, stuff like that. So how come we're more focused on gender and identity and not these real issues that actually make an individual more skilled in society?
Mm-hmm.
That's a question. Like,
Yeah,
I don't.
I think that there. I think there's going to be a reaction to what's happening now. I feel like it's just the
You
government
know what I'm
has gone
saying?
too left that there's going to
Yeah.
be a reaction in the opposite direction because people think about people that have families, but I think that the other thing is that families are declining, right? A lot of people
Yeah, that's true
um,
too.
are are are
Like the
single
nuclear family,
or
you mean?
yeah, the
Yeah.
nuclear family is
Like
is declining.
mom, dad, two kids.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Like the definition of family is changing.
Mm-hmm.
To be like mom, dad, dog. you know?
Yeah, which is most of the scenario, which is happening more
Yeah,
and
yeah,
more in the Western societies, right? So
yeah, yeah, totally.
that's part of it. I feel like.
You know why that is? They were doing a study on that. It's like you have a tendency to have more kids because if your situation's bad, but when there's more options, people are opting for careers now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they're like, oh, this kid will like inhibit my career. So like the more opportunity there is, the more decline you see in
Yeah, in
like
general.
families.
Yeah,
Your families.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Okay. So there's another video that my sister sent me, and I was like, that's a good point. It's in line with what we were just talking about with the decline in mathematics. So this one person was arguing that math is racist because it's binary. So
Right.
two
Yeah,
plus
yeah, yeah,
two,
yeah.
that's crazy. 2 + 2 = 4. It's binary. It's wrong or right. But 2 + 2 can also mean 5 because we live in a subjective reality. So 2 + 2 can mean 5 to you. What the hell is that?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
okay, now it's affecting even like science, which is confusing. And it might not pass as like, oh, this is the truth, but the sheer fact that this individual really believes that makes me question this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, where do you draw the line?
Right.
Your brother's a math teacher, right? So I was saying how it'd be really funny if they got the answer wrong. It's a bad joke. Putting this out there, bad joke. I apologize in advance for the future me who has to apologize for this joke in the future. So, so your brother was like, is a math teacher, and I was like, what happens if they get the answer wrong and they go to you? Sorry, sir. The answer identifies as correct.
Right.
We could be heading in that zone. The fact that that person was like, it's racist that 2 + 2 = 4 because that's a binary thing.
Yeah, I understand that.
What do we do with that?
I understand that, but it's not going to go in that direction because then you couldn't do anything because math has to be very strict.
That's my point. Like I'm like, how are you gonna build a building, bro? Exactly. How are you gonna build a building?
Yeah,
it's gonna fall. Mm-hmm. You know. So, okay.
That can stay in like language class. Like, okay, we'll leave it at language class for that.
No, for sure. It might not work mathematically, but the sheer fact that that person is thinking in that direction makes me question what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like like science will stay the same. It's like, no, we need science to stay binary. We need it to stay racist because that's how we build buildings. Mm-hmm. Like it's either right or wrong, bro. We need to know, right? But the fact that you think that that's a valid argument and you're actually arguing that point to the death is like, what's wrong with you? What are you thinking?
Right.
How many other people think this way?
Mm-hmm.
Are we just going to collect and then... Because that's what society is, right? It's like the loudest voice in the room, right? These people will vote on this. Imagine like a politician being like, I also agree that math is racist. Right? And then they're like, I'm going to vote for you. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, okay, well, society just took a huge downturn.
Right.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Hopefully we won't get to that point. Yeah, I know. Hopefully there's some changes happen before we get to that point.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah. I get subjective reality, totally. That makes sense. But, like, there is objective reality, too.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, like, this is why I like martial arts. You know, jiu-jitsu. You either subbed them or you didn't sub them. Math. It's either right or wrong.
Right. Yeah.
But trying to be too inclusive... It's a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so to go back to Elon Musk, I feel like everything we just spoke about and like the ridiculousness is how the reporter is. I feel like he was lost in his own ideology, pushing the wrong narrative, wasn't listening to Elon Musk, who was making total sense.
Right.
Like in that interview, Elon made completely valid arguments for all of his actions.
Yeah.
You know? And if you can't hear that, there's something wrong with you, not wrong with him.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think BBC just did not prep a right reporter for this kind of...
Okay, is his career done?
Is his career done? I mean, I don't even know who he is, so...
Fair. True. Maybe he was like, this is my opportunity to become a breakthrough reporter. And now it's like,
did you see the ending bits where he was like just scrolling through, like, I guess they were putting it on Spaces or whatever on Twitter. So
yeah. Oh, Elon Musk scrolling through the questions. Yeah.
Like he's reading out some of the questions and he's like, I don't know if that sounds good for me or something like that the reporter was saying.
Yeah. I think he knew. He's like, oh, I'm in trouble. Like, yeah, that's like career suicide doing that. Like, with someone so influential. You really have to, like, do your homework.
And he's very much media prepped. Like, this is the other thing that people have to understand.
Elon Musk?
Elon Musk is, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure.
So you have
he's
to
done
come
this so many times.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think BBC had, I would say, a wrong kind of reporter, or they just didn't think that something like this would happen. Let's say they weren't expecting this level.
Yeah. That's true.
But I think I sent it to you. But it's like I was looking for the video when it first came because all I saw was like the clips of the different clips from on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I wanted to see the actual video, so I go to BBC's website. All that they showed as their main headline was saying that he was in panic mode when Twitter was going down. That's how they try to push it That was their headline,
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
have a positive headline for them in a way,
Yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, yeah,
or
for
a
sure.
negative
Yeah,
headline
yeah,
for Elon.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah. I know you're saying like they're like spinning it,
Hmm.
spinning the combo. Actually, that's funny because when I posted the video, well, Wob said this too. He was like, "This is almost like a movie length. Like, do you have the highlights, right?" And then when I sent it to those marketers that don't like Elon Musk, they were like, "Oh, I don't have enough time to watch this full video. Like, what should I skip to?" And I was like, "Then how can you formulate an opinion if you won't watch the full thing?"
Hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, how can you know you don't like this person
Yeah.
unless you like actually look into the person? Like this guy's literally doing SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink, Starlink.
Hmm.
These are all crazy advancements.
I heard he just started a, what do you call it, competition, or not competition, like for like an open AI, they're his version to
Oh, yeah, yeah.
rebuttal the current AI situation.
But
He
he was
didn't
a
create. I don't think
founder of
he was one of those. Yeah, but he was gone at the time when all this happened, right? So
the
he's
Chat GPT thing.
the Chat GPT. Yeah, so he's creating a
That's
now.
another way,
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
a new version. That's another thing. Like people, these marketers I know, they use ChatGPT. I'm like, he was a founding member of ChatGPT, right? Like, so you're using all the things that, like, you don't like this guy, but you're
But
using all the things
that's
that
the thing,
he
is so
uses
much
to
that,
abuse.
yeah, it's very hard. It's like you're attacking him, but then at the same time, you're probably for like all the green energy stuff.
Yeah,
Tesla has been
yeah, yeah.
pushing it, and if all the cars that are doing it now is all because the success of Tesla. You did-
So like, you won't even give him the chance to like listen to the whole thing, like
Mhm.
see why you don't like him.
Right.
Yeah, it's wild.
Hmm.
This is the thing. People just like fall into an ideology, see what everyone else is saying, don't think, just
Yeah, yeah, just
follow the
that's
general
what happens when
narrative.
people don't have time to really.
But this is my fear. This again, it's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where are we headed?
Hmm.
Yeah. What time are we at?
Just over an hour, a little
Okay,
over an
cool.
hour. Yeah.
Is there anything else for Elon Musk that you want to bring up that you thought was like memorable highlight?
No, 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 no. I think that was the main thing. I I don't think he did any other interviews like this big prior to, at least with the bigger.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, I didn't even know this came out until I started seeing like that meme of him destroying that guy for the what is hate speech.
Hmm.
And then I was like, oh, he did a new one. Like I like to watch like his
Yeah,
interviews
yeah, yeah.
too, and like, but I hadn't seen one in a while, so I was shocked that he did this one. Yeah, yeah, it's great. Okay, so last thing is more of like a esoteric thing or a philosophical thing. You know when people say like the world needs more love?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, how do we solve the world's problems?
Sure.
Okay, love.
Hmm.
That's what everyone says, right? Have you seen that?
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
everyone's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
if there
seen
was just
that.
more
Yeah,
love in the world,
yeah.
right? If there's more love in the world, there'd be a more peaceful place. Okay. How many people know what love is? That's really
Hmm.
what I'm seeing the gap being. It's like you could say that, but your definition of love is different from somebody else's definition of love, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, yeah. I think you have to
Or
define
there's
what
like
it is.
superficial,
Right.
right? So when you say like all the world needs is more love, then what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
Because like, is it like passionate love? Is it a love that you want to control? Is it like what kind of love are we talking about? Okay,
Hmm.
so now I'm going to ask you, what is your definition of love?
I think it depends on the context. Right.
So okay, yeah, go ahead. So what would
So
some definitions be?
if you're saying for the world thing, I just think that just means respect and tolerance kind of thing,
Okay, respect and tolerance. Okay, yeah,
right? Um,
yeah,
like that, if that's what we're talking about, right? Like
Yeah,
what
no, totally. Like, what are the potentials for love? Like, I'll give you my definition after. I'm just like, what are some obvious potential answers for what love is?
obvious potential answers?
Like, what could somebody
Well,
say
like as
as
he's
far as what love
saying,
is?
like the way you love your family. Like is that what you're saying? How much we should like represent
Maybe,
others,
like,
respecting
yeah,
others like
like
that.
you should love everything about them. Is that what they're saying? You
Yeah.
know, like I'm just saying, like, what could this statement mean
Hmm.
of like the world just needs more love?
Right.
Okay, so a spiritual, like the most common explanation, or like the best explanation for love, is like a flower. If you love a flower, you don't pick it, because if you pick the flower, it'll die,
Right.
right? But if you love the flower, you'll let the flower be itself, and you'll just appreciate the flower from afar. You're not trying to control the flower. You're not trying to
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
right? Because that's what love is, right? That's a great explanation for what love is, using the flower analogy.
Hmm.
That's like a very spiritual answer. Okay, so then my question is, doesn't that mean we just have to accept the bad in people as well?
Hmm.
So if the world needs more love, if you're telling me the world needs more love, so then shouldn't you appreciate Putin? Shouldn't you appreciate Hitler for their tendencies? Shouldn't you like, don't try and pick that flower,
Right.
bro?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if that's what you really mean, then you're not following your own definition.
Right.
Like that's a Taoist viewpoint. Like
Hmm.
Taoism is all about like life is already perfect. It's just the mind that makes it not perfect. You know. So if we are talking about like true love, you just appreciate it from afar and you let that flower do what it's gonna do, or else it'll die,
Right.
right? Or what do you really want is, do you want a totalitarian government in order to control everything? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you really want love in this world, or do you really want your idea of control? Because you can't have both.
Hmm.
And this is what I'm thinking about with those like hippie style people, those new age people that are like, the world just needs more love. Like, not really. The world needs totalitarian control, according to what you believe,
Hmm.
right? Because it's like we need to share resources. Well, what if this guy doesn't want to share his resources?
Right.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I don't think that's just.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's ironic. You saying that is just ironic, because if the world really need more love, then you just let it be. The world's gonna world.
Yeah.
You know, it's you who wants to change in a specific direction.
Hmm.
You know, we should all share our things. We should all like hold hands and sing songs.
But
You
I
know what I'm trying
think,
to say?
yeah,
And it's like,
I see what you're saying, but again, it's like these are people part of the world, right? It's never gonna go one way. These are all.
yeah,
It's
no,
a
totally, yeah.
pendulum thing. It's like whatever's happening in current society. That's why it's being said. So it'll help push it
Mhm.
in a certain direction, and then eventually it'll go the other direction. It's like this is
No,
just
totally.
part of society,
For
right?
for sure, for sure. But what I'm saying is like those people that use that line are just using platitudes.
Hmm.
It has no meaning at all. You're just saying something that you think is worth saying. It's no
Right?
different than the
Yeah.
guy that came with an agenda for Elon Musk.
Yeah. Hmm.
You know what? What I
Yeah.
think the whole theme of this podcast has been is most people don't examine their own ideas. You know,
Hmm.
like they just say what's being said rather than asking, why am I saying the thing
Right.
in the first place?
Hmm.
And do I agree with what I'm saying? Because we all want to be accepted.
Yeah. Right. And are these my real thoughts on this, or am I following something?
That's
Yeah.
exactly. And if you are just following someone, well, then AI is going to take over, bro,
Hmm.
because AI is just going to make you think that everyone agrees
Right.
with your thing.
Hmm.
It's no different than if you look at somebody's, um, this is like the biggest trick. Like, I love being a marketer. So if you look at somebody's social media and you're like, wow, they have a lot of following, but it's like, but are they saying the right thing? Are
Mhm.
they? Did you just get sucked into that number?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we are such a herd mentality, and there's very few of us that don't want to think like a herd. You
Mhm.
know, because to not think like a herd is to be like asking yourself questions and then trying to find the answer.
Yeah.
But that's very difficult,
It's very difficult. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, where do I even begin?
I think it's difficult because you become a lone wolf in that sense, right? Where
Yes. Yeah.
it's just easier, or we're also kind of hardwired in that sense to just be part of a group and follow a group.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And this is where all the problems stem.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
Or
that's
maybe,
just our history. We've always been like that,
or
right?
or maybe it's only a problem to us because we could see that this is happening. But if you just blindly followed something as a herd, you wouldn't actually be upset
Mm-hmm.
because you wouldn't have to think anymore. It's like religion.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
just like, Jesus said this. All right, cool.
Yeah, it's easier. It's easier to yeah. I think it just makes the world less complicated when you follow,
Yeah.
right, something.
This is just like the Matrix. Like, I was actually explaining this whole idea to somebody else, and I was like referencing the Matrix because, like, the Smiths, the people that are stuck in the Matrix, it's just easier to fall into the Matrix
Hmm.
than it is to like step outside the Matrix and be like, what's really going on?
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's part
Yeah,
of it. Yeah, I feel like if you question every single aspect of what's going on, it's
you just go
very
nuts.
yeah, you can go nuts. Yeah,
But the problem though is like I feel some people end up questioning later on, and that's where midlife crises come.
that could
Because
it's
imagine you
possibility.
never, right? You're like 40 years old, then you just start realizing all these things,
Hmm.
and then you have like a mental break. You're like, wait, my whole life's been a lie? Trippy.
Yeah, yeah.
Or like, how did I get here? Oh, I didn't even want to get here in the first place.
Hmm.
Oh, I lived someone else's life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, the person who I was explaining this to, I was like, another lesson in the Matrix is you don't free a mind past a certain age. Because they're like, why are you telling me this? And I was like, because you can handle it. But like, I would never tell this to like a friggin' mom who believes a specific thing and has like 5 kids. Like, what are
Right.
you gonna do to that? You
Hmm.
know, imagine that mom has like a awakening and then like goodbye kids.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean that's what happened to
Yeah.
Buddha, right? So
Exactly. Yeah. Mental break.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anything? That was the last thing I wanted to cover. Anything else you want to bring up? Anything you're looking forward to?
Looking forward to. Well, I
Oh, you see the
finished.
snow?
Oh,
Oh,
that's
sorry.
to
Go ahead.
happen next week or something.
Yeah. What is that? I don't know if that's true, but what's
I,
going on? It was like so hot yesterday,
which is not
and it's
normal
so hot
though. But
today,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden it's gonna snow. It's like, wait, what?
we'll see what they. I don't. I didn't look into it. I saw that headline, but I don't know what that means. Are we talking
Yeah,
about
true.
Northern Ontario? That's fine.
Yeah, facts. That's true. That's true. It's localized to like a small spot. Like you got a little bit of snow, and you're like, yeah. Were you saying
Oh,
you've been?
no, I finished God of War.
Oh,
Finally,
nice. Okay. How was the ending?
it was
Does he
good.
die?
No, he. I guess spoiler, but no,
Oh, he dies.
he doesn't.
Oh, yeah, spoiler, spoiler. I don't care.
Yeah, no, he didn't. He didn't die.
He doesn't die.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was the mom who had set him up to basically make sure they followed a path, and then she had done a different image that they're not dead.
Oh, but she needed that image to
She needed
prompt
that
him
image
down.
to let them go in this path and have their connection grow as father and son.
That's interesting. So, do you think there'll be another God of War game?
Yeah, I think there's going to be
Like
another
it'll
God of
still be
War.
with Kratos.
Yeah, I feel
It'll
like
still be Kratos.
uh yeah, cuz the son had to go find himself at the end. Like he left.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, maybe you'll play as him for like a long stint of the game.
We'll see. We did play quite a bit him in this game as well.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's true.
It's just
Okay, cool.
now, like when they're older, we'll see the kind of. I feel like they're setting up for another story, but like, it was going into a lot of, Kratos' history, like him dealing with his
Oh, that's
past
cool.
too. There's like mentions
Yeah,
of
yeah,
these
yeah.
sort of things. So yeah,
Okay, cool. Yeah. Good game overall.
yeah, it was a
Worth
good
the
game.
buy.
Yeah,
Nice. Did you complete it 100%?
not yet.
Like you
I'm going
wanted?
through. I'm
Oh,
going
you're still
through.
going back.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can go in and find all the artifacts and fight all the other bosses that you didn't have to fight in the story. So
Okay, cool. Nice.
so doing
Did you
that
try with
slowly. No, there's no VR.
is there VR for Oh, okay.
No.
Oh, too bad. All right.
Yeah, I think the next game I'm waiting will probably get will be Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, yeah, 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 true. Yeah, heard a lot of good things about that game too.
Mm-hmm.
You play any more VR?
No, I haven't had time because you have to hook it up and
Oh,
sit
okay,
there,
yeah.
and so I haven't.
Oh, it's
Had
a
time.
lot of work, eh?
Yeah, I think
It's a lot of
that's a
work.
problem. Yeah,
Mm. Can you hook it up and just leave it somewhere? You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but it's like it's
like
just
prep it.
cluttering, right? And just adding clutter to the space.
Oh, okay, okay. So you have it packed away then?
Yeah. The same box. Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of interesting. Like you would think that VR would be so fascinating that people would want to. Like, remember how you're saying the thing that's stopping consumers from using VR more readily is the cumbersome nature of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
like
it's
you're seeing it
still
in
a
yourself
cumbersome.
too.
Yeah, it's still you have to still hook it up, right? You still have to do all that.
No, that's what I mean. It's like
so you
it's
got to get
still
it
at
to a
that
point where it's just like wearing a glass, I guess.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. Because again, my fear was that it was going to be so good that it would just suck people in. But it's like you're right.
No,
You have to.
yeah, you really have to make it as convenient. I don't know. Maybe we've become too accustomed to convenience that
It's like it's too much work.
it's too much work, right? We're still dial up here. We're still connecting the freaking lines.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. Facts. That's true. Yeah. But who knows? Maybe there'll be that like that console seller game.
No, but
like a
actually,
Halo.
the funny thing is, it's like it is. I think if you have time, I think a lot of people do use it. So, because one of the building superintendent, right? So I met him and he's talking to me, and he's talking about all the VR stuff because he knew that he saw that I had it, right? Because he had to fix something in the kitchen. So it's like, and then he's like, "Oh, how's the VR?" It's like he recently saw me earlier this week, and he's like, "Oh, you should try out the Star Wars game. It's really, really good." It's like,
Oh, dude, that thing. The thing I posted about like why be regular when you could be a god.
mm-hmm.
Like the.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
actually
yeah,
a really
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Insight.
No,
Yeah.
there's a
Because like.
there's a well, not that game, but there's a different game. But yeah,
Oh, okay. I thought that's what he's talking about. That video, if you're listening to this, you haven't seen it. Basically, you should become a Jedi in that. But when he lifted the person up with one hand and then spun the lightsaber with another and then brought it over and then like decapitated the person with the spin. I was like, okay, like you're a god. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know, why be regular?
I guess so. It's good for those. I mean, I don't know if it's good or what. But it's like there are access to those types of people. Right? Like you could do that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And
Without your fantasies.
Yeah.
That's trippy.
Yeah.
Anyways,
but
cool.
I will use it. Just the timing has to be there. So.
Yeah, you're waiting for the console seller where it's like this game is the best game ever. You're like, okay, it's time to play
it. Yeah.
Is there anything that's coming out that's like really good or no?
They'll probably reveal something in June.
Okay.
Something like that. Like normally it's like December releases. They have some plans for the year, but it takes time, right? Even if you come out, it takes a couple of years to really have some good stuff out there.
Yeah, true. Actually, gone are the days where like when Xbox first came out and they paired it with Halo, and you're like, you have to buy because you like Halo's so good. You know, now that they know that consoles like you could wait a bit for the game to come out.
Mhm.
Maybe that's why they're not.
There are some
Like,
good games, but I
you
just
know what I'm saying?
yeah, there are some other good games to try, but
But
again, it's
console sellers though.
right.
But
No, no, no.
console
Oh, yeah, I know
sellers.
what you're saying. Yeah. I don't know if there's much of that anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe that was just a thing from back then.
I think so. I don't think it's. I don't see it as much now. Maybe I'm just not into that advertising style. So I don't know.
Which is kind of sad. Maybe it's like we've become so like maybe the golden age of video games is when we were starting because like everything was so new, and then you're like, I really want to play Halo, so I'll pick up this console, whatever, you know. But then maybe our access to technology is so great now that it's like we've habituated to it. It's like, what's the next game? What's the next game? What's the next game?
I think
'Cause
it
remember,
was
like Halo lasts forever.
Yeah. But there hasn't been another. Well, there
Yeah.
was that Halo that came out, but it wasn't a console part of it. It came out a year
Yeah,
later, right? So it's like, but even then,
there are no games now.
and there's no co-op thing. They were gonna the
Yeah.
multiplayer co-op. That was like a very big selling point. Or canceled that. I think that's what I heard. So
But do you remember like in the beginning when the games were so good that you play them for years and years and years? Like Halo,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Well, I think the
Literally.
other thing with the Halo 2, it wasn't really just specifically to the console. I was playing it on my PC.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's not they're not selling it as a console seller now. It's just a game.
That's true. What I'm really saying is like the golden age of video games is kind of gone now too. Because it was so novel. So that's why it was the golden age. It was like, what are we doing here? Piracy was so good. Remember Dragon Center? You go there,
Oh yeah.
get like a modded PlayStation, and then you can get any game pirated. Yeah, that was the golden age. Now we have like, we're like, what's the next game?
Right,
All
right,
I'm done.
right.
What's the game? You know, too much abundance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. Till next time. Yeah. Take it easy, Bish.
Peace.
Bye.
Boy.
All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Bish.
Peace.